How's it going, JSConf? My name is Sam Agnew, and a company called Twilio pays me to build goofy hacks and speak about them. So, I flew in from New York City the other day, and speaking of JavaScript developers from New York, I just want to give a quick shout out to my buddy Daniel Cousineau speaking at the other track right now. He's talking about how the history of time and how time is a social construct, stuff like that. Seems real cool. You should watch it on YouTube later, because he also organizes a meetup called Queens.js, which is one of my favorite ones, and sometimes I convince my employer to give them money. Anyway, as you can probably tell by my screen, this talk is going to be more of a fun one than a serious one. It's the last session before the closing keynote, and I know towards the end of conferences, attention spans start to wane. So I figured what could be more fun than just playing Pokemon together in a room full of JavaScript developers. So as you see on my screen, I have a Gameboy Advance emulator running Pokemon Red version, which is a game I played a ton as a kid. And what we're going to do is I have the Windows version of this emulator running, even though I'm on a Mac. And the reason for that is there are a lot of old game emulators where the Windows versions of them have developer tools, because people still make real games for these old systems, and for some reason or other, most of those developers use Windows. So one of the features that this emulator has that I'm going to be using for my talk is Lua scripting functionality. So we can write Lua scripts that execute in the environment of the emulator, and we can control the memory of the game and button input and stuff like that. I'm being mic'd up. Cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to write a Lua script that interacts with a Node.js Express server sitting behind a Twilio phone number, and I'm going to have all of you text a Twilio phone number to tell me what buttons to press in the game. And then the Node app and the Lua script are going to communicate with each other. And testing. Can you hear me? Sweet. Awesome. So this might sound kind of familiar to some of you. If you were paying attention to the internet, like about 5.5 years ago, there was this thing called Twitch Plays Pokemon, where there was a twitch.tv live stream of the game Pokemon Red, but instead of a human being playing it, it was everyone watching the stream typing in the chat which buttons would be pressed. And when you have 80,000 people playing the same game, controlling it at the same time, things get pretty interesting. So when I found out that these emulators had Lua scripting functionality, which you could use to control the game programmatically, the first thing I thought was, I guess because I work for Twilio, I was just like, whoa, wouldn't it be cool if you could do that with text messages too? So I looked up all these APIs and stuff. Turns out the Lua scripting thing is really popular in the tool-assisted speedrun community, where people try to write scripts to complete games in the most efficient way possible. This is like a page about the Lua scripting for the Visual Boy Advance emulator. This documentation seems pretty bare bones, so I've actually been following this other emulator's documentation, the FCEUX emulator for Nintendo games, for old school NES games. Turns out all these old game console emulators, they have the exact same Lua API. I guess because they're all open source, and once one of them implemented it, the other ones were probably just like, cool, gonna copy and paste that. So here's the FCEUX documentation. You could do stuff like read and write bytes to the game's memory in real time, like the RAM and the ROM and all that stuff. We're not gonna get into that right now. What I'm gonna be using is the Joypad library, which allows you to manipulate button presses and stuff like that. And what we're gonna do is I'm going to have this Twilio phone number set up so that I can programmatically control it. So whenever you send a text message to this phone number, and it's a 760 number, which I think is an area code around here, so cool. Whenever you send a text message to that number, Twilio is going to send a post request to this URL right here, sagnew.ngrok.io/SMS, which is basically a tunnel to a port on my local machine that my Node Express app is going to be listening on. That app does not exist yet, so we'll get to that later. If you text this number right now, literally nothing will happen, because it's just being dropped on the floor because the code doesn't exist to handle the message yet. But you will be texting this number later. I'll show it on the screen later, so you don't have to copy it down right now. Anyway, let's get into the basics of how to write code for this Gameboy emulator. So I'm going to create a file called pokemon.lua, and I'm going to do a hello world thing. You might have seen in this on this right now. I have my Twitter handle up on the Gameboy emulator. My Twitter handle is Sagnew Shreds. Sagnew as in Sam Agnew, Shreds as in shreds on a guitar. And that's just like a quick hello world script that writes my Twitter handle. Let me show you how to do this. You're going to call the emu object, emu as in like emulator, not the animal that defeated the Australian army in a war one time. I read that on Wikipedia. So anyway, I'm going to say hello JSConf with an exclamation point and a smiley face because I'm super happy to be here and I'm super happy that you are all here. And I'm going to save that. And then I'm going to stop this other script from running, so my Twitter handle is going to go away. Cool. And then I'm going to go find this Lua script on my computer in my talks folder, in the JSConf folder, pokemon.lua. And I'm going to run that, and it says, hello, JSConf. Cool, we wrote some Lua. But it disappeared. So the reason for that is it's only running once. It's just printing once at one time. But what we can do is we can repeatedly print this on every frame if we want it to stay, like I just did with my Twitter handle. And for that, we need to write an infinite loop, because infinite loops rule, right? We write those all the time. So because this emulator, the whole like environment in there is single-threaded, this will actually stop the game from even playing. So this emu object gives you a function where you can control the frames, so you can advance to the next frame. This way, our infinite loop is pretty much taking over the runtime of the game, so that each iteration of this loop is going to be one frame of the game. So all this code will execute on each frame. So I'm going to advance to the next frame at the end of each loop. I'm going to restart that, and now the hello JSConf is going to stay there. So that's going to be part of the basics of what we're doing. Now I'm going to actually write some useful stuff. So what we want to do is this Lua script is just going to communicate with our Node.js stuff. I know this is JSConf and I'm writing Lua. I'm not much of a Lua developer. I don't know how many of you in this room consider yourselves Lua developers, but I'm not particularly. So I'm just going to write some code to communicate with that Node.js, and we're going to do something extremely technologically advanced here. Really complicated stuff. We're going to communicate by reading and writing to text files. Yeah. So I'm going to read on each frame. I'm going to read from a file called button.txt to see if a button was pressed. And I'm going to write some utility functions for that real quick. So I'm going to write a function that can read a file, and then I'm going to open that file. If I can type correctly. Cool, so I'm going to open that file name with the read flag, and then I'm going to check to see if that file actually exists. So if it's nil, then I'm going to set the input to be that file, and then I'm going to create a variable called content and read the contents of that file into it, and then I'm going to close the file, because you always got to close something you open. You got to finish what you started, right? And then I'm going to return the content of the file, which should just be a string of whatever was in the file. And next I'm going to write a quick function to press a button in the game. So this is going to take a button, just like the text of a button, like A, B, start, select, up, down, something like that. And the way the Joypad API works and this Lua scripting is that it takes a table of buttons, like a key value kind of thing, like a JavaScript object or a Python dictionary, and it takes the button name and true or false for whether that button is being pressed or not. So I'm just going to create an input table here, an empty one, and I'm going to set whatever button we're trying to press equal to true. And then I'm going to call the joypad.set function. And this is actually kind of interesting right here. It's like one of the idiosyncrasies of this Visual Boy Advanced Lua scripting is that I have to tell it which controller to press this button on. The Game Boy is one player. It's like literally just the Game Boy, right? There's no two controllers. But I guess because they copied and pasted the Lua API from the other emulators for the consoles, you still have to give it the button input. So I guess unless you're using a link cable, there's only one player. But player one is going to have this input table. And now I'm actually going to go down to this infinite loop, and we're going to say for each frame of the game, I'm going to check to see if there is anything in button.txt. So I'm going to create a variable that is just going to read the contents of button.txt. And I'm going to delete this message right there. And I'm going to say if the button is actually a thing, if it's not nil, then I'm going to press the button. Pretty simple, right? And then I'm going to put a message out saying I'm pressing the button. So I'm going to say pressing button. As I said, I'm not much of a Lua developer, so Lua string concatenation is just 2 dots. So if that looked a little funky to you, that's what that is. That's just string concatenation. And then I'm going to remove that text file. So I'm going to delete button.txt so that I avoid duplicates. Like if you send A to the text message thing, and then it writes the button to that file, I just want to press the button once. I don't want to like keep pressing it on each frame repeatedly, because like if you want to press the button twice, you'll just send A twice. So, and if there is no button.txt, it's just going to return nil, and then button's going to be nil, so this won't get executed. But speaking of pressing buttons for multiple frames, that's another thing I want to address. So you are all human beings, and when you're playing a video game, you're not playing as fast as a machine would. So when you press a button on a Gameboy, or any controller really, even if you're trying to press it really quickly, you're at least holding the button down for a solid portion of a second. So we're going to want to press it for more than 1 frame at least, like let's say 5, random number. I'm going to write a for loop to basically just hold this button down for 5 frames, which is still not a long time, but long enough for it to actually register. And this is just the syntax for a for loop in Lua. But I want to make sure I advance the frame again after each iteration of that loop. And I think that's all the code I need to write in Lua. So we're done with the part of the language. We're done with the part of the talk where I'm using a language no one writes, or probably some of you do. I guess I do, because I'm technically writing it right now. I'm going to open a file called button.txt. But first, I'm going to reload this Pokemon.lua script. The hello JSConf should go away. Cool. Now I'm just going to write the letter A, capital letter A, in this text file. And if I didn't mess anything up, when I go back to the emulator, it should be pressing the A button. And as you see, it's on this menu screen. So if it works, this should go to the screen where I select a new game. Pressing A. Well, I mean, I guess it said it was pressing A. Oh, there we go. Maybe 5 frames wasn't enough, actually. But we'll see. Cool. So the code works. The Lua code works. That's good. I'm glad to hear that. Now I'm going to open up a save state that I have, because later on, once we're actually playing this, I don't want us to have to like sit through Professor Oak telling us all what to do. And like, you know, I can play the Super Nintendo. Agnew is playing the SNES. Pretty accurate statement, because I still have my old Super Nintendo hooked up in my apartment in New York. All right, time to go now. I'm going to write some JavaScript finally. So I'm going to open a file called index.js, and I'm going to just build a quick Express app. So for a lot of people here who are already familiar with like back-end Node development, this will seem pretty straightforward to you. For those of you who aren't familiar with back-end Node.js development, I guess this will be like a little Kickstarter, a little quick start on building a quick server-side web app. So first, I'm going to import all the stuff I need. Going to require the FS module because, you know, writing to files, got to use the file system for that. Also going to require Express because it is the web framework that I'm using. And I'm going to grab body parser because I'm going to need to deal with the body of a post request. Because when you send the text message, Twilio sends the post request representing the message. And I need to get stuff in the body of that post request to access what the text of that message is. So body-parser. And now I need to use the Twilio API, the Twilio node module. And I'm going to grab the messaging response object from that. So this will generate the TWIML for me. TWIML being Twilio's set of XML tags that tell us what to do with the call or the text message. So when you do send a text message, it will send that HTTP request, and then my web app's going to have to respond with these XML tags, particularly the messaging response one, saying, hey, respond to this text message with a message. And no one wants to write XML by hand. I don't, and I'm not going to. So going to do this. Cool. Now I'm going to create my app object. And I'm going to make an array of valid Gameboy buttons that you can text. So these are going to be the buttons I'm checking against. If you text me something that's not one of these, then I'm not going to input it in the game. So you could do up, down, left, right, A and B. There are also the start and select buttons on the Game Boy, but I'm not really going to use those for this one because that opens up the opportunity for you all to troll me by spamming the start menu, and that's not as fun. So I'm just going to not let you do that at all. Next, I want to actually make sure I'm using the body parser middleware. Can't forget that. So when I get the URL encoded post body, I'll actually be able to use it. Gonna write that real quick. Cool. Now we can get to the fun stuff. Writing the post handler. So this will be a /SMS route, as you saw me configure in my Twilio console, and I'm going to write the callback function that's going to handle that request. First thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a new TWIML messaging response object so I can generate that XML. And then I'm going to grab the button that you want me to press. So I'm just going to assume whatever text message you sent me is only going to be a Game Boy button. And I'm going to grab that from the request body. This is going to look slightly confusing because the inside of the body of the post request, the value that I want is body with an uppercase B, because that's what Twilio sends you as the actual text of the message. It's called the message body. So I'm grabbing the body, and I'm going to convert it to lowercase so I can make this case insensitive, and also so I don't have to put the burden on you to deal with your autocorrect and stuff. Because if you try sending me left, as you see up here, this is lowercase, and you're going to have like a capital L and stuff. We don't want to deal with that. So I'm going to convert that to lowercase, and then I'm going to see if what you texted me is actually in our list of valid buttons that we want you to be able to text. So if you text me start, I'm not going to get that. So if you sent me a valid button, I'm going to add a message to this TWIML object, and this will be the text message that I'm sending back to you in response. And I'm going to say, thanks for playing Pokemon with me. And if you have any questions, I'm going to give you my Twitter handle again, @SagnewShreds. So that's Sagnew as in Sam Agnew, Shreds as in shreds on a guitar. Or my email address in case you want to send me some more longer form complaints about how I'm using semicolons and you hate that or something. And I'm going to send you a smiley face back because I'm really happy that you're all here. So next, I am going to actually write this button to the text file to communicate with my Lua script. But an interesting thing here is another one of those things about that Lua scripting API is that when you're trying to press the A or B button, it expects it to be uppercase. But if you're trying to press like up, down, left, right, start, or select, it expects it to all be lowercase. So slightly annoying, but we can deal with that. I'm just going to quickly say that if you're trying to press A or B, I'm going to throw that back to uppercase. Oh, no. I want to say if you're pressing A or B in this little if block here, then I'm going to set the button equal to uppercase, button.uppercase, button.to uppercase. You know what I mean. Cool. So then I'm going to actually press the button by doing this super complex writing to a text file. So it's going to go to button.txt. I'm going to write that button to it, and I'm going to go UTF-8 encoding. And now if you text me something that's not a valid Game Boy button, I'm just going to respond with a message asking you to send me a valid Game Boy button. Because you might make a typo or something, and I don't want to send that to the Lua API. Or maybe you just want to comment on my hair or something. I'm going to just say, hey, please text me a valid Game Boy button. No smiley face on that one. And now I'm going to deal with actually responding to this HTTP request. So I'm going to make sure that it's a 200 response, because if I'm actually getting the text message and stuff, I'm just going to give it 200. Let's go with that. I'm going to set the content type to be text/XML. And I'm just going to send the TWIML object a stringified version of it. So this is just going to be the XML that it generates, which is just going to be the text message that I want to send back. Should be almost done now. I just got to make sure this app is listening. Going to go port 3000, you know, the classic port 3000. I'm going to console.log Express app listening on port 3000. I'm going to put a bunch of exclamation points. Cool. So before that should be all the JavaScript I have to write. Before I open this up for you to all play Pokemon with me, though, I'm going to make sure I don't have any errors. So I'm going to run this. And I'm going to text this. If you did take that number down, then I guess you can play it. But I'm going to text right. I'm going to try to go right. Yeah, someone pressed up. Someone went left. OK, so people are actually, it looks like the code is working at this point because I'm not getting any errors. And you know what that means? It means we get to play Pokemon together. So who wants to play Pokemon until I run out of time? So I'm going to need you all to take your phones out and send a text message to this number, preferably a Gameboy button, 760-492-6659. So that's 760-492-6659. And let's see if we can go select a starter Pokemon and then battle our rival. If we can get past that, I'll be pretty stoked. So yeah, let's play some Pokemon. So we want to go right and down. We want to get out of our mom's house because we're a big kid now. We're going off on our adventure. Ash was like 10 years old in the anime. So we're 10 years old, ready for adult life. Hey, it's Agnew's house. It's my house. All right, we got to go up. We want to go up and to the right. Yeah. All right, now we want to go right. Let's do that. Isn't it great that I didn't let anyone press start? Because we would just be standing still right now. All right, we want to go up. Got to get in the grass. We got to get in the tall grass so Professor Oak will see us and be like, whoa, it's a 10-year-old kid going into the grass where all these like vicious animals are. You got to have your own vicious animal, buddy. You got to be able to protect yourself with like a Squirtle or something. All right, so we want to go right and up. Let's do it. Let's do it. Right? I believe in you. I believe that this community can stick together and we can defeat. Yes. All right. All right. Oak. Yeah, Oak's looking out for us. Oak's got our back. Now let's just spam A and B so we can get past this guy talking to us, this science guy. Professor Oak, the science guy. Cool. We're on our way into his lab. Gonna get our first Pokemon. I'm excited. I'm excited for our adventure. Yeah, we don't even have to walk up. The game scripts that for you. As you can see, I named my rival Fool because it's customary to name your rival something not nice, and I think he's kind of a fool, so that's what I named him. When I was young, I was a serious Pokemon trainer. Cool. You got 3 Pokemon. I'm going to spam B so that we don't actually accidentally start a conversation with him again as soon as he's done talking. I don't need to be greedy like you. Go ahead and choose, Agnew. All right, so now we want to go down and right once we're done this. All right, let's go right. Let's do it. Let's do it. We got this. So we're going to go right. Oh, I believe in us. I believe in us. I believe in us. I actually just copied right, and I'm just copying and pasting it now and sending it in a text message. All right, now we want to go up and press A on which Pokemon should we select? Charmander, Squirtle, or Bulbasaur? Well, at least we're going to be able to fight against Charmander. So you know what? It's probably better because A, AI, okay. J, P, J, Z. Okay, cool. Really creative nickname, extremely creative nickname, and this fool's gonna take Charmander. So now we have to battle him. So let's go down. Yeah, just like send down so we can go there. And what's our strategy gonna be for this battle? Are we just gonna repeatedly tackle? Should we do that? You want to use growl at all? You want to? I don't think. I don't think Bulbasaur has Tail Whip, but like I think Charmander and Squirtle do, right? Well, no, Squirtle has Growl. Charmander has Tail Whip, right? I don't remember, because I'm apparently not a Pokemon master. Yeah, I think Charmander has Tail Whip and Bulbasaur has Growl. So, all All right, JZYW colon semicolon. My strategy is going to be just to spam A. Oh no, oh no. Oh, we hit growl. We're growling at each other. Oh yeah, we're going to tackle. Tackling now. Not a very strong tackle probably. Oh no. We're going to, if we lose to this Charmander, what does that say about the JavaScript community? If we can't stick together to beat this Charmander. Oh, he's scratching us. Okay, I believe in us. I think we got this. You know what I should have done to give us a little head start? I should have grabbed that potion from Agnew's PC at the beginning of the game before, and then saved after that. But that would have been cheating. We don't need to do that. We can do this ourselves. As long as we just spam A and get lucky, I think we're going to win. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, we got to press up, but once, not oh, no. Well, at least the Charmander's going to be really weak. We're just growling at each other. This is like an intimidation match right here. Oh, yeah, only 2 damage. You know what? I still have faith in us. I think we can... All right, we hit tackle. We hit tackle. I think we're... Oh, no, critical hit. Uh-oh. That ain't good. Okay, all right. He's doing nothing right now, so that's good. Uh-oh. I think we can do it, though. We're at least making him weaker. I'm not all... All right, we're tackling again. Charmander's growling at us. We're getting weaker as time goes by, but so is Charmander. Oh, man, this is going to be a... Oh, no. Oh, no. All right, we're doing 1 damage to each other now. Growl can't make him any weaker because he's only going to do 1 damage. No. Oh, no. All right, nothing happened. All right, we got Growl. If nobody ever presses up or down again, then I think we got this. I think we can win. Oh, no. You know, I still believe in us. Oh, no. You know, if we get a critical hit, we can make this happen. We can win. It's still possible. It's still possible. Oh no. Okay, all right. You know, I'm not gonna give up on us. I'm not gonna give up. That is unfortunate that we missed. And he's still growling. Okay, come on, critical hit. No. All right. No. Well, we lost. I guess we're the fools now. Oh man. Well, whoever shouted Charmander earlier should be pretty happy right now, because at least you know deep down in your heart that Charmander was the right choice. And that's my favorite line in the game, Gramps, smell you later. But yeah, I mean, I guess we lost that first battle, but I have faith that, you know, we can grow as Pokemon trainers. We can come together as a community and learn, you know, because going to conferences is all about learning and improving and stuff, you know. So we're going to become better Pokemon trainers yet. Just you wait and see. With that said, I think that's about all the time I have for you now. My name is Sam Agnew. I'm a developer evangelist at Twilio. I'll be around at the karaoke and the pool party later, so come find me if you want to talk about Pokemon or JavaScript or anything. I'll catch you later. Have a good rest of JSConf.